Ancora sono le 12:12, quindi sembra un numero magico. Cosa, Pietro?
Devo
Aspetta.
prendere i bigliettini.
Ah, certo, prendiamo i bigliettini, continuiamo dopo questa invasione, come dire, di emozioni, di musica, di anima di Peppe Voltarelli e qua vicino a noi Pietro sta cercando i bigliettini perché anche questa edizione Simone Lisi ha preparato delle piccole biografie a cui poi seguirà una sigla e chi abbiamo al tavolo con noi Pietro in questo momento?
Allora, intanto sì, faccio vedere l'illustrazione che è di Francesco Chiacchio, che è qua con noi a fare dei disegni dal vivo. Questa è
Giusto?
stata declinata col colore arancione in omaggio a Testo e la biografia dice così. Nick Thorpe è giornalista, documentarista e scrittore britannico, corrispondente per molti anni per l'emittente BBC News. Per Keller Editore è uscito nel 2023 il suo libro Il Danubio, un viaggio controcorrente dal Mar Nero alla Foresta Nera. Qui l'autore ci racconta, ponendosi a metà strada tra il libro di viaggio, saggio e reportage giornalistica, il Danubio, in tutta la sua lunghezza, risalendo la corrente come fa lo storione, il pesce più antico e imponente di questo mitico fiume. Lo ha percorso a ritroso, al contrario di quanto hanno fatto i grandi viaggiatori danubiani, per guardarlo con occhi nuovi, quelli di chi proviene dall'est. Abbiamo con noi Nick Thorpe e adesso
La sigla di Radio Gridolini.
Radio Gridolini.
io intanto vorrei chiedere, I have to say sorry to Nick because we will talk in English, in Italian, reading in Italian.
Translate very bad in English, something like that.
The Alberto Sordi English, it's our favorite. So
Do you know Alberto Sordi?
No, I don't.
He was like the best actor during the 50s who make a great film. The name was An American in Rome, who's supposed to speak English, but at the end of the time he doesn't say nothing, like us. A little bit.
a little bit like us. So welcome Radio Gridolini, welcome at Testo. How do you find this book fair? Is it your first time?
It's the first time at the book fair, not my first time in Firenze, but I'm very happy to be here. It's a beautiful building and it's nice to see so many books.
You like?
It was an ancient train station, so we have like this sensation of trip, tripping
Yes.
with books, with a train. I think it's very magic, this place for a book fair.
Very good. No, it's a perfect place for a book fair. My grandfather was a train driver on the old steam trains, so
So you're in the perfect home.
I feel at home here.
Because you was born where exactly?
I was born in a very small village, Upner, in the southeast of England, on a small river called the River Medway, which might explain my interest in rivers.
Do you know something, talking about rivers, do you know something about, and especially how it calls in English, the anguilla? This kind of fish, it is not a fish that goes into river and then changes. You know the story of
I
this?
know the story. I mean, it's the eel. In
The
English, we call
eel.
it an eel,
Ecco,
yeah.
the eel.
In Hungarian, in Budapest, where I live, the word for to be English and to be an eel is very similar, angol or angolna. And so when children were laughing at me when I was first in Hungary and they're saying, oh, there is an English person, I thought they were saying there is an eel.
Ah, okay. This is good.
Traduci perché era molto interessante quando lui... vabbè.
It's difficult to translate because it's a matter of pronunciation between
È un gioco di nomi, è un gioco di parole.
È un gioco di parole rispetto a anguilla and the other in
Ongol and ongolna.
Ongolna. So how can I translate? He's a bad person.
I know. That's why I'm like Roberto Benigni Can with Dan Bailo translation, but I will explain you
So
after this.
this book fair is somehow dedicated to senses.
Senses.
The senses, yeah.
We would take as a pretext for our question different senses to ask you, for example, first the sight, but even the touch, even the smell, even the hear, about to be a reader. I'm very interested in, as a bookseller, more, you know that you are here because you are a writer and you will tell your story this afternoon. At what time is your event again?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock p.m. Stazione Leopoldo Testo. But I'm interested you as a reader. What kind of reader are you?
Well, if we're talking about senses and smell,
Yes.
5 minutes ago I actually saw my book Il Danubio for the first time in Italian, and here on the stall, this beautiful edition that Roberto Keller has produced. And first thing I did, apart from looking at the cover, which I've seen in photographs, was to open it in the middle and smell it. And I think that's it's always a good start with a book. So I'm a reader who smells books before I read them.
And do you also, I mean, when you enter in a bookstore, what you look for, or it's the book that are looking to you, or you look for books, or you just take the books that you were, you read about it, or some guys told you to read?
Yeah, no, I don't often go into a bookstore looking for a particular book. I think I love second-hand bookstores as much as new
for
bookstores.
the smell also. I think.
Also for the smell. There was I went to a very kind of restrictive school in England, a boarding school, and there was a wonderful bookshop in that town which was my refuge. But I didn't have very much money, so I used to go into that bookshop, and I would head in those days I was like 15, 16 for the poetry section. But the people that ran it, a couple, they were so nice that when they saw that I was standing there for hours reading their books and never buying one, they started bringing me cups of coffee.
What was the name of the bookstore? I'm curious.
It was called...
It's closed.
It's closed now. It no longer... It was in Hound Street. It was called Book Law in Hound Street in a town called Sherborne. But they also had in the old days, they had a record player there. And it was second-hand and new. And when they liked a customer, or liked the look of a customer, they would put on music which they thought that customer might like. But also if they had a troublesome...
Segna qua, Pietro.
You say so, because I'm a bookseller and I'm always obsessed what the behavior that I have to do, because it's always difficult when you're looking by yourself about books to interrupt and to say, would you like a help? This is bad for me. But I do the same. Sometimes I change the music because he prepared for me from the bookstore wonderful playlist. This is true. And also the mood of the attitude.
Possiamo tradurlo in italiano questa cosa che ha appena detto il nostro amico Nick?
Certo.
Lui aveva il suo rifugio in questa libreria e la cosa divertente è che aveva un giradischi accanto e il libraio, appena vedeva qualcuno entrare vestito in una certa maniera, metteva su un pezzo per dare l'ambiente alla libreria, diciamo corrispettivo col personaggio che entrava.
Sì, soprattutto esatto, cercava di
creare un ambiente conforme
nei gusti. Because bookseller, they think about himself that they're the super psychoanalyst. I also think that I can understand since one opened the door, how they opened the door, if they go straight, I can understand what kind of book they're going to buy, but it's never true. But we have this, we are egocentric.
Allora, andiamo alla seconda domanda, we regarded the taste, and our idea is like to prepare a dinner with 4 people, and you can choose the people from, the past, life, death, come si dice, non è importante che mestiere, non è importante...
Not writer, but you can choose
between
heroes in the history, and also what would you order for the main dish and wine or what.
You can choose like Shakespeare and then Fellini and then Cantona but you have to prepare maybe a good table, because if you, I don't know, if you invite Shakespeare and then I don't know,
he knows.
Esatto.
Do I have to cook as well?
No, you're in a restaurant.
You're in a restaurant.
Perhaps the first name that comes to mind would be Marcus Aurelius.
Marco Aurelio.
We started.
He's very associated with the Danube. Once in a village called Duna Sekce in Hungary, I don't mention this in the book because it happened after I finished the book. But I made a series of documentary films about the river based on the book. And in one of those, we were in a small... I knew that this was one of the places where Marcus Aurelius as emperor was based, beside the river. And in a small local museum, there's a copy of a bust, of a bronze head of Aurelius. It's a very good one. It's not when he's trying to look like a warrior. It's when he's trying to look like a writer, actually. And we said for the film how nice it would be if we could take the head back from the museum back to... It wasn't the original, it was a copy of the original. And they said, of course. It actually weighed 12 kilos. But so in the film, there's a a shot, a scene of me carrying the head of Marcus Aurelius beside the river Danube. So that's my Marcus Aurelius story. So he's number one.
Number
Okay,
one.
then
Then number
two.
two. Then it gets more difficult, you know.
If you start with Marco Aurelio, it's
yeah,
very
it gets
difficult.
very difficult. Can they be living people as
Yes.
well?
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
also your
Tom
brother.
Waits, the singer Tom
Oh,
Waits.
bravo.
Yeah.
Bravissimo.
He's really one of my heroes. Once I saw him play in Paris.
Where?
In a cinema or in a relatively small place, but it was his last tour of Europe.
Yeah,
He-
2008.
2008. Yeah,
the
fine.
last tour.
It was very difficult to get tickets.
Yeah,
It was a miracle to get tickets. Yeah.
Glitter and Doom was the tour. Glitter
That's right.
and Doom.
That's right. Glitter and Doom. And so I think we were in row 5. It was wonderful. So he would.
You were
definitely-
alone to see the show.
No, I was with my wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you remember about the show? What do you remember?
I was so tired. I hadn't slept for 3 days because I'd arrived in Paris on the Monday. I think the concert was the Thursday. And the Monday night, I got a phone call at midnight from the BBC saying they've arrested Radovan Karadzic in Belgrade. How long will it take you to get to Belgrade? And I hadn't told, I was going to Paris for 4 days. I didn't tell my bosses, my employers, I was going
It
to
was
Paris
Sissi,
for a
don't
Tom Waits
wait.
conference. Tom Waits
Yeah.
concert. So I said, actually, I'm in Paris. And they said, oh dear. But at 6 o'clock that morning, I was flying back from Paris to Belgrade. For 2 days, I stood outside the courtroom where Karadzic had been taken, and then I flew back on the Thursday morning so I was reporting like 24 hours a day, and then I flew back on the Thursday just in time for the Tom Waits
Fantastic.
concert. So, but it was a fantastic concert. But I did manage to keep my eyes open.
Capisco. Okay, so Marco Aurelius, Tom Waits, and then
Ooh.
we have to arrive 4. Maybe
We
you
need
can choose a
2
woman. A
more.
woman.
Yeah,
So far, I would like to attend to the dinner, so you can also. No,
Yes.
wait.
Già sono una volta ti incrosti, Pietro.
Because I like those
Lo
dinners.
so, ma non puoi.
Ooh. That's a really difficult. I thought you were going to ask me about the book. I didn't know you were going to ask me about
Ah,
dinner.
no, we speak in everything
Yeah.
except the book.
But
Yes.
then I can tell you this. While you're thinking about these 2 other guests, maybe, and I steal his role, you can tell us about the hearing. If you have a tune that has the most beautiful text, written text that you would like to hear now while you think about your other 2 guests, also without the most beautiful text, just a tune that you would like to hear now.
I don't need to sing it though, do
No,
I?
no,
Because I
no,
really
you don't
cannot.
need to sing.
Maybe a Tom
If
Waits
you
song.
want.
Yeah, I think one of the Tom Waits
Yeah.
songs. I mean, there's one of his which is quite. He doesn't really refer to my country, to England, in his songs. But there's one. The lyrics are. I can never remember the name of the song. It's something. Will you take me across the Channel? London Bridge is falling down. And a whole room of strangers talk only about the weather.
Can you repeat it with a Tom Waits voice?
Strange weather.
please?
I think it's strange weather.
Yeah, I think it's probably and a whole room of strangers talk only about the weather.
Ok, I found it. So,
Perfect.
possiamo ascoltarci Strange Weather di Tom Waits del disco Big Time, mentre il nostro amico Nick sceglie gli ultimi 2 ospiti.
Will you take me across the channel? London Bridge, there's always one around and all over the world. Strange.
Nick, have you chosen the other? No, don't worry, we have the...
Allora io intanto, mentre lui continua a pensare, scusa Edo se ti interrompo, faccio vedere il libro. Come sempre noi chiediamo quando c'è il pezzo musicale di scegliere un libro. In questo caso siamo fortunati perché qua dietro sono presenti i migliori libri scelti da alcuni editori presenti in fiera per il concorso Assegno, che ricordiamo è il concorso che premia il libro più bello. In questo caso Nick ha scelto Pajak, la biografia di Van Gogh, scritta e illustrata da Pajak, che è veramente un gioiello. Vedo Francesco che fa sì con la testa perché evidentemente
Sfoglialo un po'.
incontra i suoi gusti. Fra l'altro dicevo anche a lui incredibile la coincidenza che Pajak ha avuto fra gli tanti lavori che ha fatto, ha lavorato anche per i treni, quindi tutto torna Edo.
Ok.
Dico solo altre due piccole cose. Prima lui nominava Keller, editore, che è il suo editore e che è un fantastico editore, Roberto Keller, che pubblica quasi solo letteratura mitteleuropea, ma fa anche dei grandi libri di viaggio, di letteratura, ed è uno dei nostri favoriti, non lo dico per piaggeria ma perché è vero. E questo Lorma anche qua ha toccato uno degli editori che noi amiamo molto, che ha anche il suo stand qui alla stazione Leopoldo.
Benissimo. I don't know, Nick, if you choose the other two guests at the dinner. Have you choose the other two guests?
Yeah, I can think of one more for sure.
Okay.
I guess Maria Magdalena as a female guest.
Maria
Mamma
Martellina.
mia, bellissimo.
Parlaci di Maria Martellina, Pietro, io non la conosco.
Maddalena.
Maddalena?
Maria Maddalena.
Ah, Maria Maddalena. Ho capito Maria.
È la
amico.
vicina di casa di
Yes.
Maria Martellina.
Maddalena, wow, incredible.
Maria Martellina, esatto, la
Pensavo
vicina
fosse
di
una scrittrice incredibile, non lo so. Maria Maddalena. Insomma, Maria Maddalena, Tom Waits e Marco Aurelio.
And the fourth, and then
Yeah, the fourth. And then that's more difficult to make that choice.
yes, between these three.
One possibility, I guess, would be Patti Smith as another singer.
Fantastico.
Or maybe your grandfather. The
Um,
one who working with train.
Yes. Or, yeah, there's some... Yeah, I don't know.
L'ha fatto. Patti Smith.
I think it's done. Allora, Marco Aurelio, Tom Waits, Maria Maddalena e Patti Smith per la cena, for the most incredible dinner of our life.
Sì.
And I choose the wine for everybody. Is going to be red wine. Okay?
Good.
Everybody's happy. So
Ok, andiamo avanti.
Another question is sì, olfatto. This is I like a lot. This is crazy. This is also a game. Speaking about smelling, and I have a good friend of mine that is also a wine producer that some years ago received as a gift this wonderful present, and then you have to pick one little bottle, open it, and try to tell us what is the smell that you are smelling.
Okay, so this is a bottle, it's number 21.
Yeah,
21.
It's a kind of transparent liquid, white almost. And I should tell you what it smells like?
Yeah, if you can.
It's a very nice smell.
I can help you a little bit.
It's a flower.
This is a wonderful schede that this game has inside to talk about the smell that is smelling. Allora,
I don't suppose it's a daffodil. Could it be? It's not a
it's
daffodil?
a flower.
Yes, it's certainly a flower. It's a bit like a daffodil.
What is daffodil, Nico?
Daffodil. Narcissus in German.
Narciso.
Narciso.
Yes, maybe.
I would say go simple.
Go
Go simple. More simple.
It's a rose.
It's a rose.
Yes, okay.
It's a rose. And now that I tell you that it's a rose, it makes sense that it was a rose.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Yes, completely.
It's a
yeah,
rose.
Yeah,
That is bad, Nico.
yeah.
Another one, please.
È vero, Rose. Incredibile. Senti, Pietro.
I was trying too hard. It was a daffodil.
Because you are a writer.
I just
You
picked
think
by
about Narciso.
Yeah.
this one.
You want me to try another one?
Yes,
Okay,
thanks.
good, 38. Talking about the smell of flowers, there's a scene in my book where a woman in a place called Babadag in Romania, in Dobroja, she tells me that there's a mountain called the Mountain of the Fathers, Babadag in Turkish, and I ask her what's special about this mountain overlooking her town, and she says the snowdrops, which these beautiful white flowers, the first flowers of the year which come out as the snow is melting, they smell like flowers which, like no other snowdrops in the world. And I say to her, but I didn't think snowdrops have a smell.
They don't.
What do they smell of? And she said they smell like freshly washed sheets on a winter's day.
Pazzesco.
Of linen sheets, freshly washed cotton or linen sheet on a winter's day, lying on the line, hanging on the line. And the next day I climbed the hill, and they're unusually large, these snowdrops, so it's quite easy to smell them. They're protected, so I didn't pick any, but I was sort of kneeling on the ground in the
true.
leaves, and I sniffed them, and she was completely right.
Fantastico.
Una storia incredibile.
Because those it's a pretext to talk about others, of course.
Of
Memories.
course.
It's always memories.
Yes.
And what your
So
memory
this
tells
one.
you.
Hmm.
Yeah. What number is it?
This is number 38. Yeah. It's a kind of more resiny kind of smell, so I think it's a tree, this one. It smells like
you
a
have,
tree.
You have to go in the south of Italy, and the fruits comes out in the winter time.
The flowers come out in the winter.
fruits.
The fruits. So it's not a cypress. It's not a cypress tree or some kind of larch, or it's not an evergreen then. Or it is an evergreen.
I mean, I think it's evergreen actually. Yes,
And it's not a cedar.
it's
Cedar?
full of
No.
vitamin C.
Full of vitamin C. The fruits of this particular.
It's very common.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
It's all.
Mi dai troppi aiuti,
It's
però
all,
così
it's
non
all over
vale.
here. Let's-
È bello invece se lui prima ha detto un narciso, quella era la sua
Bellissimo.
risposta.
Yeah. Oh, it's an orange tree.
Yeah,
really?
an orange tree.
Okay. My mother used to make marmalade.
Now
you
I'm
know, this
curious.
with these oranges, these sour oranges from Sevilla, from Spain, which are sour, and therefore with sugar they make a very interesting marmalade. This orange marmalade.
Yeah,
it
also
was-
In
in Italy.
January, or
it
end
was-
of January,
It was
beginning of February.
my father's favorite marmalade. So
Eh
this
sì.
is something very. The smells
È
brings
una
memories.
Madeleine di Proust.
Allora,
Andiamo avanti Pietro,
Next
abbiamo
question.
la prossima domanda che riguarda l'equilibrio. Questa la fai te però.
okay, we know that a balance is also another sense. This question can be very simple, but the real purpose of us is to go deeper. So we will ask you: are you a balanced person?
Equilibrate person.
But in reality, we would like to ask you: do you use drug? What kind of drugs do you use?
To write.
What is your drug? You can be also cough. Yeah. No. So you can use the
Yes.
question.
Have
reply.
you ever experienced a writer section under a drug, for example?
I'm more interested about the present, but yes.
Yeah.
And I used to smoke marijuana, and I used to enjoy marijuana.
And you quit.
It doesn't really fit my life as a journalist, really. I mean, you have to be quite alert all the time. I think it's a writer's drug in a way because it's quite a dreamy drug. It's one that's easy to abuse,
It's
like
also a sleepy
like
drug.
any drugs. But other drugs. I remember there was a very good interview with Michael Palin, I think. John Cleese from Monty Python recently. And he was asked the same question: do you take any drugs? And I think the question kind of surprised him a little bit, and he said, well, money, of course.
Exactly.
I thought it was a great answer.
It's the best.
Yeah, I should probably have answered that.
I would take this as answer, perfect. But you are also a balanced person. I mean, you're.
I try to be balanced. Journalism is a really stressful profession. Writing is a less stressful profession, I think. So as a journalist, I think you have to be pretty balanced, because if you get too emotionally involved in the stories you're writing about, too angry about politics and stuff, it's going to spoil your day, really.
How do you split between being a journalist and being a writer?
For me, writing books and making films is like an antidote to my work as a political journalist, because politicians actually, I've met a lot of politicians in my life, and at the end of the day, I didn't really like any of them. From left or right or wherever, because they're trying very hard, and I wouldn't want to be one. I don't envy them in any sense.
Of course.
So for me, to travel the Danube, for example, my new book is about the Carpathian Mountains, a journey through the mountains, and then for that, it's an antidote, to get out. Also, most politics is stuck in the city, in the polis, and to get out by the river or to be climbing mountains, walking in nature, that makes you a more balanced person. It's
And
more relaxing.
Physically, where do you write the last book? Physically, in a room where, or maybe.
Yeah, I was writing it this morning. I've already handed in the manuscript for my Carpathian book, but it'll probably be published later this year, next year, and in translation, I hope, also by Keller Editore. We're already talking with Roberto about that. So where do I write? I love writing on trains, actually.
On train.
Yeah.
Capito?
Ho capito. I could listen you forever because you have a wonderful voice. You are just a second this morning. Everybody, also Pepe, made a
Pepe,
wonderful
yeah.
voice. But I would like to say something, otherwise I forget. That here we have for the first time Francesco Chiacchio is a wonderful artist, and he's tried to take with his pen something of the
Some
situation,
picture.
some of you. I like to play. I told him you have to come, as was in the trial in the United States in the 20s, where you have this guy that used to. So he's going to represent you in his wonderful drawing. It's reductive. He's a real artist, so he's doing this. I would like to show to our followers here what he's doing. We have cameras all over, so. Guarda,
Sì, faccio così, ma magari Francesco ci può anche spiegare mentre lo mostriamo in camera cosa ha disegnato.
So,
Ho cercato di beccare i movimenti, la somiglianza, studiare i tratti. È divertente, è quello che faccio sempre in autobus, in metropolitana,
you just
di
try,
cercare di catturare
yeah,
lo
just try to
sguardo, il
capture your
movimento.
movement, your eyes in.
Qua c'è scritto Maria Maddalena, Tom Waits e Marco
E
Aurelio.
Marco Aurelio, esatto.
Mi sembrava un'ottima sintesi
Fantastico.
di questo incontro.
Bene, grazie Francesco. Questo è il
Grazie a
lavoro
voi.
che piano piano andremo a scoprire
So
durante...
we are going to build an entire collection of drawing after.
Could I have a copy of it?
We will send you.
Just to,
We will send you
Sure.
a scan
Perfect.
by
Yes.
email, because
Great.
the idea is that we would like to make a book, maybe, if
Very
it's
nice.
comes
Beautiful.
wonderful. We
Excellent.
like paper, you like paper, so we come from this world. I have another question that is complicated in English. Maybe we can twist.
Quale vuoi fare?
It's
Parliamo in
about
italiano.
Tatto. How would you say?
Touch.
Touch.
Yeah.
In Italian, when you are without touch, that means that you are a rude person, a terrible person. Have you ever in your life have a situation that your behavior was without any touch?
Control.
Any touch, like
Out
rude,
of
very
control.
rude.
Come si dice? Nico
My
in
own
inglese?
behavior.
Your own-
Or someone I met.
No, your
Yes.
own behavior. You
Mm.
were very rude for something that happened.
Rough.
If it comes into your mind, some
Yeah, I'm sure it happened.
because you're so
the
nice,
time.
so calm, and so balanced, and so river man, and
Yeah, no, I'm sure I've been very angry. I get very upset. You know, as a journalist, I sometimes cover wars. I'm not a war correspondent, but I do cover wars, and I get very angry and very upset when I see people killing each other or being cruel to each other. You know, in my book, I write quite a lot about refugees, and I have a empathy or a sympathy for people
yeah,
traveling.
but rude in a situation
rude.
that you shouldn't be rude, and you were rude. By
That I was rude. I'm sure I've been very angry with people. I can't. Nothing immediately springs to mind. I'm sure my children would remember times when I was rude to them, or angry, or impatient.
I'm sure that you will never, because it's impossible.
Allora scelgo io, andiamo avanti.
No.
I choose the last question because this is a little bit different because it's difficult for Nick because it doesn't arrive in
yeah,
your mind.
if he arrives, otherwise that means you will never rude in your life. So you're kind
It
person.
means that he doesn't want to say to us because
Okay.
it was
It means that I drink a glass of water.
of course, and come spiegavamo con Pietro, ci sono molti altri sensi, di cui uno è la termopercezione. There is other senses, and one is thermoperception. I don't know and the question behind
Perception
Of heat,
Yeah.
of cold,
Exactly.
cold.
cold and hot.
and heat. Yeah.
and the question which I really would like to ask you is what is your conception of home?
Of home.
Beautiful. Starting from the
Yeah. It's difficult because I've been traveling all my life.
That's why
But I think home is very, very important, and the sense of belonging somewhere on earth, even of a geographical place. My next book is all about this, about belonging, about the Carpathians, because the question is, and I think, and this kind of bridges my work as a writer and my work as a political journalist, is that I think one of the reasons why more nationalist or sovereigntist parties are so successful is that they are aware of this importance of home and of belonging and often the liberal or left side of politics is less aware of that. But I think a mistake that the nationalists are always making is saying, this land belongs to me, to us, this is ours, and we want to exclude other people from it. And so in my Carpathian book, I'm exploring the idea of belonging, but in an ecological sense, that we belong to the land. We belong to this river, we belong to these mountains. But maybe we belong there because our grandparents were born there and are buried there. But maybe we belong there because we were traveling there with a friend the day before yesterday, and we fell in love with that valley or that mountain or that river, and so that becomes your home, really. And I think it's fine to have an adoptive home. Refugees who can never go back to Africa or Afghanistan or wherever, or Syria, because it's all smashed up, or to Ukraine in parts, to Mariupol, they can't. They're looking for a new home here, and how a place becomes home is partly, of course, about the sense of hospitality you find in a place. Hungary's been very hospitable to me. Eastern Europe, I love every country in Eastern Europe.
There is a river, especially a river, not the Danubio, another one, that is your home.
Yes.
Which is?
I think every river is my home.
So when you arrive at a river, I'm arriving home. Welcome.
Yes, when I arrive in a river, this morning at 3:30 I got a text message from my oldest son, Samuel, Shamu, and he was sailing.
The singer?
No, he's not a singer, he's a sailor.
A sailor.
He takes boats around the world, and he's sailing this morning. He has a wonderful sense of balance. Actually, he's a skateboarder. The reason he became a sailor is that he loved anything made of wood, and which kind of... so he started as a skateboarder, moved to a windsurfer, snowboard, and now he's sailing boats. But I got a text message from him at 3:30 this morning saying he'd just left Brisbane in Australia to sail to... a place called Opua in New Zealand. So it's like 10 days, 2,000 kilometers, just powered by the wind. And so his sense of home, I guess, is...
No gasoline.
Is a small boat, a small piece of wood, probably a rather well-designed piece of wood, powered by the wind in the middle of a big ocean. And then if one looks at the kind of the planet Earth as a writer or as anybody living as an inhabitant of the earth, and this small, beautiful, especially blue, but also partly green and brown and yellow planet spinning in space, then I think, we know these stories from the space travelers, from the astronauts, but I think the first time I realized the sort of how small this planet was when my son was sailing in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and I looked at it on the globe, and it was just so big.
And you were not, as a father, no little scary or worried about
because he's very scared, he's scary about everything,
Everything.
Not really. I mean, my biggest journey myself was across the Sahara Desert when I was 20 years old, so I can't really complain if my children try and cross the Pacific Ocean.
So the idea of Nick of home is stay close to the river. That's where you feel home.
I think, water helps a lot. But home anywhere is where you... I like fire. I like to build a real fire. And where smoke is going straight up, that's my sense of home too.
Ecco, quindi questo traduciamo all'italiano, questa qui è la sensazione di casa di Nick, è quando vede un fuoco, oltre a essere quando è vicino al fiume, quando vede un fuoco bruciare e il fumo va verso l'alto, Nick si sente a casa. Secondo me questa intervista, non lo so, è stata...
Dan, I would like you to pick the perfect tune that cross.
No.
Listen, river, home, balance, Maria Maddalena.
No, I'm sorry, but I already choose, e la metto sotto. And we are a big fan of Tom Waits, and there is a song che spero si senta, Nico, non lo sto sentendo, ma starà arrivando, che si chiama The House Where Nobody Lives. Who explain what is a house, cos'è una casa. Quindi noi ci ascoltiamo, non sta funzionando, ma mettila te, non ti preoccupare Nicola, noi continuiamo a parlare con Nick, poi capiremo perché il mio computer non funziona, ma The House of Nobody Lives è una canzone perfetta per lasciare Nick.
And there's a line in that song which goes, if there's love in that house, it's a palace indeed.
Esatto, era questo.
This is the perfect conclusion. Grazie mille, thanks for being on our microphones.
Grazie veramente.
There's a house on my block that's abandoned and cold. The folks moved out of it a long time ago, and they took all their things.